be as clarified. And I think Umahi was just rigmaroling and trying to divert attention by saying Peter Obi is inciting people. He's not inciting anybody. There's something you call scale of preference in a project. We can't be doing a project of over 1 trillion for over 7 kilometers when the Ekpoma road is in a very dire condition and people cannot pass that road. There are other roads that need attention. So it's not sailing. So this is trying to distract, it's not working. But Leila asked a pertinent question about EIA.
Correct.
EIA goes through a very, very regimented process according to the EIA Act of 92 that she talked about. This project falls under category 1 because it's also an infrastructure and it's also reclamation of land. And you need a very copious a process that involves the stakeholders. And it takes time to be able to get. At first, you write a proposal, you go through the first process, they reply to you, then you go through scoping. This project has started long before now. They've done over 1 kilometer. We should ask him what EIA did he get before they started the project. I'll give you a document I'm seeing that's circulating now. That the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway Project Phase 1, blah, 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 Madu Bello and all of that, invitation letter for scoping workshop of the ESIA and RAP studies was just done on the 20th of April. You can't be doing scoping on the 20th of April and by 1st of May you're already demolishing this property. Because those stakeholders are not carried along. You know, this EIA, you also need to advertise it. There's a 21-day working day threshold and a couple of other thresholds you need to be able to take. That's why a lot of people are asking, what's the plan? Look at this, something you have shown. The environmental impact assessment. Do you know that there are pipes underground that goes through all of this? There are sewage pipes, there are many other pipes. What was done as regards all of this? Even the water body, what was done as regards the environmental impact assessment? And that's why Leila asked a very pertinent question. And we should also ask him this morning, did he follow the due process of EIA? I'm not saying EIA that afterwards some people will flip out a document that they got from somewhere. Did he follow the due process of EIA? What is the advertisement with the stakeholders and all of that? Because that stakeholders forum was already to pay compensation. That means there was a completion of EIA. When was it completed? If the scope was just announced, we're seeing a document that says, oh, the 20th of April.
All right.
So we're going to ask for the EIA.
Absolutely.
And ask the empirical questions.
I think so, because I mean, he did say that he will provide
we're
documents, so we are waiting. But I'd like your analysis on that interaction between Leila Johnson Salami and the Minister of Works.
Well, thank you very much, Leila. First of all, I wanted to applaud such excellent journalism on show. The fact that, despite the fact that the minister tried to rattle her, intermediate technique, you know, when she said to ask questions, because he's a Minister of Works and he served as governor, so he must have interacted with people from different nationalities, with different accents and different manner of speaking, and he's able to understand them. And so initially, because the first statement she made was about the EIA, and then he then went on to distract or digress from the main points, and she stayed on focus. I want to say that. But I think it also points to the fact that journalists have a duty to hold government officials to account. Oftentimes it's said that we have the laws in place.
Yes.
It's just that except it's investigated or searched out, things are done with impunity in many instances where due process is not followed. I'm not saying this is the case in this instance, but I'm saying that the reason why these questions must be asked and asked intently is that a number of times people get away with things because nobody checks or no one questions.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have a system where leaders, older people, government officials don't want to be questioned. It's almost like, who are you to question me? Who are you to ask? He asked, he said, are you the one that is regulatory authority? No, but she is, or she has the authority to question certain things. Absolutely. So I believe that when it comes to things like this, let the journalists do their jobs. They are there, you ask for a forum, you ask for people to ask questions, then allow people to ask questions. So I thought it was very excellent that she brought that point, and she was determined and dogged until she received a response.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Abati, before I come to you, in the meantime, during that interaction, the governor had said that the federal government has put a human face to the whole process, and they compensated property owners with 2.7 billion naira yesterday. But in the meantime, users on social media have pulled up videos of bad roads which are overdue for reconstruction. Well, here is a video of the Benin-Auchi Road as reported on May 1st.
Jesus. And then they tell her now, driver dey inside though. He don't red though. Driver dey inside though. You know see some wicked, he don't, oh. And they tell say Mark no go pass this thing. May not be saying avoid this thing carry o.
And look at that disaster, Dr. Abati. And this was what Peter Obi had posted in 2 of his tweets. He did not talk about the fact that the government cannot construct the road, but he was talking about maintaining old roads. And we are seeing this happening, and this was circulating only yesterday. But let me take a tweet from FS Yusuf, who wrote, "They want to build a coastal road linking Lagos to Calabar, but Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is a disaster. Lokoja-Benin Expressway is a disaster. Kaduna-Abuja Expressway is a disaster. All our major economic roads, none is in good shape. It takes a trailer 2 weeks to carry goods from one region to another in this country. The eagerness to carry out this coastal road can possibly point to the fact that the contractor is in government, or a good percentage of the budget goes back to individual projects. I smell another elephant project." Dr. Abati, over to you.
Okay, a number of issues. I'm not taking them necessarily in the order of importance. Rufai, you were talking about Leila Johnson Salami earlier on. You said, oh, don't worry, we know where you meet. Be reminded that Leila Johnson Salami is a married woman.
We meet in the office.
So transparency. Let transparency start from here. Because if the husband, if a married woman, you say we know where we meet. No, please. You're a young man. I don't want you to get into trouble. But that's on the lighter side. But I like the composure of Leila Johnson Salami. The minister tried to rattle her, but she stayed on point and she asked her question. The significance of what she was asking for was transparency and accountability. The onus is on the Minister of Works, David Umahi, to prove the point that indeed due process has been followed in this Lagos-Calabar project. That's the significance of the question that was put to him. And Leila asked him, will you make it public? So he has a responsibility,
absolutely,
you know, to show that this is something that is being done in a transparent manner. Now you mentioned Peter Obi. Peter Obi is not the first person to raise issues about that Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. Before him, Atiku Abubakar did. Atiku Abubakar questioned the procurement process. The Waziri Adamawa said, look, this project is something being done to promote personal business interest of the president. And he said, High Tech, the company that has been given the project, the original plan was that they would do it 100%, build, operate, and transfer, according to Atiku Abubakar. And how come the same company will be given 1.07 trillion naira for channels 0 to 3 of the project? Nobody has properly addressed that question. So the whole thing about all these questions being raised, whether by Waziri Atiku Abubakar or by Mr. Peter Obi or the media, is simply that we need more information in terms of transparency and accountability. And Minister David Umahi should not think that he could just wave it off. That's my first point. My second point has to do with the fact that yesterday when we discussed this same project, we said yes, the right of the federal government to take over land within the coastal space by the land border along all the littoral states. We have 9 littoral states in Nigeria. Is constitutional. And it's also supported by UNCLOS, International Convention on the Law of the Sea. I stated all of that yesterday. However, that they should do it like human beings. So it is gratifying to hear the minister saying yesterday that they are paying compensation. 2.75 billion. 10 businesses have been compensated in this regard. that means, the intention is not to be callous.
Yes.
So I think that's an important development. They have also said that by next week, they are also going to pay more people. Because people are doing business in this difficult environment where everything is going up and nothing is coming down. I mean, they don't need to be treated, with sheer inhumanity. So I think that is also a very good development. Number 3 is to ask the question, again with regard to transparency and accountability. It was Mr. Peter Obi who raised the question that, why is this a priority?
Yeah.
Now, the question to ask with regard to that, what are they doing about the old route?
Yeah.
This our Lagos Calabar route, the main road now,
Absolutely.
the one that passes
That's the main
through
question.
Second Niger Bridge.
That's the main question.
What are
It's
they?
not important.
What are they?
It's
No.
important. What are
Just
you
wait a
saying?
moment. What are they doing about that route? Because it is likely that the Tinubu administration will abandon that, because that's also an important route,
That's the main
and then
question.
do the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. 4. What all of this shows is that the Tinubu administration has now put a burden onto itself. With all the furore, the ulabalu that we have had over this Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, they have an obligation to complete it. Dave Umahi is talking about channels 0 to 3, which is in Lagos State. Now, if they don't go beyond that Lagos State, people will accuse this administration
Absolutely.
of just interested in creating a road in Yoruba land and not
So that's another
taking
point.
it all the way. So President Tinubu must see this as a legacy project, because he will be reminded if he doesn't complete it within his tenure, whether he's going to use 4 years or 8 years, that he simply did it just to satisfy Yoruba Southwest interest. Northerners, even if he completes it, will say that this is a road that he has done in the South.
Right.
Now, number 5. Now, you pointed out the example of Benin-Auchi route.
Yes.
There are so many other routes.
That's why I read that tweet.
There is the East-West route
Yes.
in the South-South. There is the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, where that's even in a better condition now. One of the things that the Buhari administration tried to address. But David Umahi has told us that they are working on other routes. He has talked about Badagry, Sokoto. He has talked about Calabar to Maiduguri. Now, we hope that attention will be paid to all of these other roads. But these roads that you showed us this morning, it's a statement on the Buhari administration, the maladministration that Nigerians had to endure for 8 years. So much money was spent under President Buhari on roads. Where are those roads?
Those are the
So,
questions.
President Tinubu has said he's not here to complain.
Yeah.
He knows he has inherited problems. Can he solve those problems?
Yes.
And can we have evidence
Yes.
that he's working at those problems in a fair and just manner, in a manner that all Nigerians will feel that this is a well-meaning government, not a Yoruba government that will only do channel 0 to 3 in Lagos.
I like that point that you just raised, and I also like the fact that you pointed out it is not only Peter Obi that has questioned this road, even Atiku Abubakar has, but David Umahi yesterday felt the need to respond to only Peter Obi and the claim of inciting the Southeast, and that rhetoric must stop.